What's going on, YouTube? Joe Jackson here. I wanted to bring you an update and maybe start doing a few videos on my car. So my car is a base model 2015 Kia Optima. It has been very slightly modified. Cold air intake, also a muffler delete. So we've got just pipes running where the mufflers used to be. Other than that, the car is pretty stock. I've had this car for years. It currently has 122,757 miles on it. Really, like, this thing is quite the workhorse. It has performed for me the same as it's performed since day one, and that right there is the biggest reason why I feel like I need to do this. I've had, a few cars in the past that have run okay after 100,000 miles, but none of them where I can really go ham on them, if you know what I mean. So what we're going to do is we're going to go for a short drive here, really show you what it sounds like from inside the car. I'll also show a clip that I've already recorded, really, of the cold start right behind the car. It is quite loud, and it sounds really good. I honestly love the sound that this car puts off that was unfortunately muffled from the factory pretty seriously. So let's get going. I'm going to start the car back up. This is more of a warm start from inside the car, but it'll give you a bit of an idea of what it sounds like. So not so bad, not too loud. I can definitely carry on a conversation while it's running, and even while I'm driving along. The tire noise is a little bit up there. I'll give you the specs on the tires that I'm running. I'll throw them up on screen or put them in the description, so you can have an idea of that. So let's go. Pardon the Doug DeMuro-esque angle here. Really, with my mount, this is the best way to handle this. So the car is sufficiently warmed up, but I am not going to beat on it right away, just so you can get an idea of some normal driving. Currently, I have the car in eco mode, driving in automatic mode. It's, pretty quiet. I can carry out a normal voice, conversation, not really have to project so much, which is great. I mean, the fact that I can have a car that sounds good, that is still comfortable to talk in, it's really all you want. I really don't want to have a car that's gonna be like a race car where you really just can't even hear yourself think when you're on the road, because of how loud it gets. And you can hear this thing, it'll get a little loud in the cabin, but no matter what, it is still a relatively and reasonably, dim rumble. So we're cruising along here. We are out on more of a country road. So it's about 55 miles an hour, and you can hear some of that tire noise, some of that wind noise, but it's still relatively reasonable. I mean, I can have a conversation at normal levels. So those of you who don't know, the 2015 base Kia Optima does not have necessarily a sport mode. It has eco and normal, but you also have a manual mode, which is what they call sport mode in the early Optimas. So what we're gonna do here, as soon as I get a decent clearing, is we're gonna turn off eco mode, we're gonna throw it into manual mode, and then we're gonna take off because it is nice and clear. So I'm not going to mention the speed we're going. I will say that it, wasn't exactly a 0 to 60 test or anything like that. I didn't floor it. I wasn't completely heavy on the throttle. Really, I wanted to feel a bit of a pull. Now, this car comes stock with about 186 horsepower. We're not going to add much with a cold air intake. We're not going to add much with an open exhaust, really anything like that. So my estimation's right around the 200 mark. I have gone in with code readers, but I haven't actually dynoed it to see what the wheel horsepower is. So the brake horsepower, I'm guessing around 200, which, it's a naturally aspirated 2.4 liter. You can't really ask for much more, but it's still fun. I honestly, and a lot of car enthusiasts stand by the fact that, power is fun. It really is. But when you're daily driving a car, give yourself something that you can actually work for it. I want to go through the gears. I want to hear the engine rumble and roar. Obviously, this car, it's a bit old, 122,000 miles, like I said. There's some trim on the inside that vibrates a little bit. It's not a 100%, it's not a luxury vehicle. It was never meant to be a luxury vehicle. This thing is a family sedan. Why it is that I've decided to take it and turn it into performance, well, I didn't really do a huge amount of shopping. I ended up kind of just settling for it. I'll be honest. And when you settle for something and you start to feel maybe the tinge of buyer's remorse, you kind of want to make it yours. So a lot of the things I've done to make it my own, a little bits in styling. When I bought it, it did have a lowered suspension, which that's a funny story for another video here. Stay tuned for that. We're going to talk about how this car ended up being certified pre-owned with aftermarket parts, because that's how I bought it, certified pre-owned. So it had the warranty, it had everything covered, but there was some issues with the suspension that they ended up having to warranty. So as far as reliability, this car really has held its own. A few of the things that I've done, really, I went in for one recall where they essentially just, amped up the knock sensors because there was an issue of some potential premature wear of the rod bearings. Consequently, my rod bearings have a lifetime warranty on them, so that's cool. I did bring it in for the suspension issue. Like I said, I'll go over that in another video. Well, other than that, really, I went in because a sensor died, but I'm going to be real with you. I killed the sensor. It did happen partially because of the aftermarket suspension, and it also happened because I had brand new tires and I was throwing the car around, let's say, which it's not really the best thing to do on brand new tires. I don't know what I was thinking. but essentially it tore out one of the speed sensors, caused a whole bunch of issues. But reality is it was a pretty easy fix. Other than that, the only things that I've really done is I've changed the oil, and that's about it. So there's a few things on the agenda. I'm going to be kind of vlogging through those things as I go. You know, radiator flush. We're going to do a transmission fluid change. We're not going to go through a full flush of the transmission. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the transmission fluid once. We're going to drive it for about 1,000 miles, and then we're going to change it again. That should get out, you know, majority of the fluid, the old fluid that's in there. As far as other maintenance items go, I mean, you know, we're just going to keep changing the oil. Now, what kind of oil am I using in this car? What I use is the Valvoline, I believe it's called Max Life, and it is a fully synthetic oil. I use the 10W30, so it's a little bit thicker than the recommended. I really just want to have as much protection as possible. Reality is I'm not nearly as worried about gas mileage as making my car last long. And considering I'm pretty rough on this car when I drive it, I mean, I've beat the crap out of this thing for, you know, 110,000, 115,000 miles. I wasn't easy on this car day one. How often do I change my oil? I'm going to be real. I change my oil about every 10,000 miles. I empty the oil pan. Oil's not even coming out. Relatively clear, clean looking oil. It's a little bit darkened. And the full amount that I put in is coming out. I mean, about, you know, 5.25 quarts. I'm not pulling out a bunch of junk. I'm not pulling out a bunch of crap. The oil's not coming out sludgy or bad. Really, I just use a really good oil, and it does its job. So it really drives like any regular front wheel drive car. It has a few differences. This car has electronic power steering. It has a whole lot less torque steer than a lot of the front wheel drive cars that I've had in the past. Very little, pretty minimal. I mean, in a lot of cases, I've been able to floor it without my hands on the wheel, and it will still drive straight. So it does happen. I'm not going to say that torque steer has been eliminated, but it does drive straight. The steering is pretty nice. You know, Kia does a pretty good job of giving you more feedback, you know, more feel in the steering wheel, and tightening up the steering wheel when you're at higher speeds. And as far as like the ratio is concerned, I find it to be quite perfect. I don't have to overturn the wheel too much around tight corners or anything like that. I don't end up crossing my arms when I'm going over tighter corners. It feels nice. It feels really precise. This car has very little body roll. It is there. It's a bit lowered. It has a tighter suspension. Thanks for watching. This is my 2015 Kia Optima. Like I said, it's a base model. It's got a couple of little things, but it's got over 122,000 miles, and I love the way that it drives. Look forward to some more videos. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, so you can get notified when my new videos come up right away, and you don't have to battle the algorithm to find them. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, You know what to do. Come on. And I will see you later.